Okay, just a fast assembly because it's pretty much, I'm sure you could figure it out. But here we go. So I usually choose to do a matching 30 or 32 gauge. Now for these small ones, I'll wrap with a 32 gauge. And again, remember, I kept it a little bit flat. So one of my favorite wires is the antique white wire 32 gauge. And it's actually fairly strong because it's coated. So I think that gives it a little extra strength. So I'm going to get that first one really wrapped in there. And I like it to match. Now remember how we kind of tamped down? And you can see that now, how this wire is kind of flush with that. And using a lot less space. It's not bowing out as much, so it's not going to get as thick because we tamped that wire down in the beginning there. Now, I like the wire to kind of match the petals, as most people I'm sure do, because then when you see through it, you don't see some glaringly, different size. So we're going to aim them all a third distance apart, so about 120 degrees apart. And so I'm looking down and I'm seeing that, yeah, that's about 120 degrees, about, want them to be evenly spaced, the first three little ones. And so I want it to be really tight up in there, but I'm kind of at the bottom of this one, which is making it kind of annoying. So I'm trying to push it up in there. Okay, we got a little bit going on with that. Now, I'm going to double check our spacing. So people have different theories on this. I think I like to shape my leaves, most of the petals before I assemble. Well, it depends on the flower, but yeah, pretty much all the time. Now, if I was doing this a full size 11, like a full life size one, the three inner big ones are actually slightly smaller than the three outer big ones. But in this small one, because it's small, all of my outer ones, all six, are the same size. And so make sure you put the first round, you're going to do 3 first. And again, my hands are horrible, so I don't know why I'm even trying to demonstrate this. In the spaces between the 3 little ones, just like you would probably imagine. You probably don't need me to tell you this. Okay, so we got that one. And then put one here. Again, I'm not very dexterous because my hand situation is a little odd. Okay, and I do a bunch of wraps. I'm paranoid. Also, I send mine out into the public often, and I'm not there to protect them, so I really err on the side of super sturdy. So if you're not planning that to happen, but if you're making boutonnieres, I would probably go with super sturdy also, because it's going to be on someone's jacket. So sometimes as I go to, I will squish down lightly to just I want to keep the bulk down, so I'm trying to keep it down. That will mess up your wrap though, so don't, everything's a balancing act with these things. So now I've got my first 3, and I'm realizing that I think I would like these better and more of a transparent. They're kind of, this is very opaque, so the inside doesn't show as easily. Live and learn. Interesting. Okay, I've never made a magnolia with opaque. So, and again, now I'm going around and filling in the other blanks. So I'm basically putting them where the original 3 small ones were. You can feel that this one kind of turned sideways on me. The wire got a little bent on it, so I'm going to tamp that down for sure. Also be careful when you do that, because you can break your wire. Okay, and last one goes right here. We're going to squish that up. Now, if you're doing a boutonniere or even these small ones in general, I don't worry about a calyx. Though for magnolias, I don't in general, because they don't really have a calyx, so that makes it easier to just finish them off. So again, I'm tamping down to reduce stem size. Now, we get that. I'm going to wrap it down a little bit. That's a lot. So if you're doing a boutonniere, I just realized I didn't even think about this. I would not do a 3-wire thing. I do that for stability with the small ones, but I would probably go down to 1 wire, trim it to 1, the petals to 1 wire, so you don't have all this bulk right here. But that's easy enough done, so that's stable enough. And if you are worried, in general, glue is frowned upon or whatever, but for stability's sake, you can put little dots of super glue on the bottom of the petals once you're fully molded and ready to go, and it's where you want it to be. Mostly because, again, if they're going to be on people's chests and people are hugging, and you want them to be stable as possible. So there's my guy. It's looking pretty good, and you can shape it however you want to shape it. You can open it up more, so you can see it. You got that. With magnolias, I either use a brown because they're on a branch, or a very dark green. I have this really sticky dark green, which I have a love-hate relationship with. I love it because it's super sticky. I hate it because it's super sticky. So it's a little olivey. So, and let's see, when I pull it, you can see that difference. Oh, maybe you can't. It's a little bit olivey. I have this other dark green, which isn't as sticky, and it's brighter, which, since they're normally a tree flower, I tend to do them on a brown, like a branch. But because this one's just separate, we'll use my love-hate sticky tape. Because, like I said, it's really good. I like it because you really can get it, like, I like to get it right up in there, right up in there. I push it up with my fingernails, get it right up in the bottom. And then once I do that, I bring it around. Now, here's the deal with tape, which I'm sure you've figured out. Not all tapes are created equal. Not all wrappers are created equal. I'm a very bad tape wrapper. Always make sure you stretch it to activate that wax. Okay, so I pull it down, and I'm pulling it the whole time. Uh-oh, something popped through. I noticed that right there. We don't want anyone getting stabbed by a rogue wire. So make sure you kind of push that down back in there and wrap back over it. Okay, keep going down. Now, the thing about wire 2, which I'm sure you figured out, but a lot of people didn't tell me these weird, uptight details. Well, nobody told me anything, actually, so. But, I mean, not even in books or anything, because they don't really have time for it, I guess, which makes sense. So I'm going to cut the end. I actually like to normally cut it with wire clippers through this, because it actually forces the tape to squish around the bottom more and makes a better seal. Now, if you have a drier tape, you can put a little dot of crazy glue on the end and hold it for a second and then spin it again and put it down. But this one, you never have to worry about it. Now, if you do notice, this is one thing I do also, if you notice that you have, though this, of course, the time I want to show it, it actually looks pretty okay. I'm trying to think of what I can use. You can take another thicker piece of stem wire. Here's a 16, and you can get all these little furrows out of it, right? You can flatten it, make it all smooth. And that can be of drier ones too. So anywhere that's what I'm saying, like, do whatever you need to do when you wrap it, because you can probably fix it later. And you can also make it look like it doesn't even, like it's not even wrapped, like it's just one long, like, continuous thing, because you can't even see the edges of the rows anymore of the wrap. So these are little uptight things, like something like that, right? You can go like this, you can rub it right down. I don't get too uptight about it, because it's over wire, so what are you going to do? I'm saying that as I'm rubbing it with another piece. So I guess I'll get a little bit uptight about it, but I don't expect it to look like it doesn't have wire underneath it. But especially towards the top too. Just a little thing. You're always going to see these little rows because it does have wire underneath it. So what? But I can smooth the rest down. So now it's nice and shiny and very continuous, as you can see over here. And then this guy, I don't know why I'm pointing at it with this, like that's doing something. And so there's your little guy in here. And now I'm thinking maybe I do like the other one I made. See, I made this original center with 5 bead stalks, and it looked like it was going to be too big. But now I'm thinking that would have been better. Well, everything I said just went with the 5 bead also, so I might change the, I think you should actually put a 5 bead in there. Interesting. Live and learn. I might try to make another one real quick and make it with the 5 bead one and see what I think about the difference. Okay, but anyhow, either way, the cool thing about the Magnolias in general is that if you want to make this bigger, just add a few more beads to your initial row. And the ratio is still fairly wide, so that if you went smaller, then I might take a row off, and to go much smaller, I would probably not do a 9 row. I would probably do a 7 row if I went with less beads. But if you want to go bigger, it's still wide enough that if you went a little bit bigger, 9 row would be fine. So if you want one bigger than this, just add a couple of beads to your initial thing and do the same exact thing. They're very user-friendly. Very, very user-friendly. And you can, shape them so they look kind of natural. You want to be a little bit random, or not. You could have them be totally normal. But anyhow, so there's one slightly more random looking. Not much. And I'm thinking now I am going to make one with this center. Go figure. Okay, so I'm going to change that in my thing. But again, everything I said is the same. But instead of picking up 4 beads like you did here, you will pick up 5 beads. Okay, that's it. Again, I shouldn't be doing this after grading, but because I hope it made some sense.